Good morning, Manas. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Pass me over. Good morning, good morning, Randall. Go one. Yes. Okay. Good. House. This is definitely a non-idioma. Yes, sure. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, yes, it is in Yonah the Yoma, the first question. So, Akala is asking a question. Chasna is on Rosh Chodesh. Yeah. And she is she's getting married b'shotav Mutzlachas on Rosh Chodesh, and the minig is brought to Kunoruk in Even HaEzer that the Chosson and Kallah fast. It's minig Ashkenazim, and the Rosh Chodesh is not allowed to fast. So what are you supposed to do now? In all the Lubavitch book, there is a paragraph from a letter from the Rebbe where the Rebbe writes that you should fast the day before. So the question is, a day of fasting is not as easy as a day of having bagels and cream cheese. It's easier to eat a bagel and cream cheese than to fast.
A lot of people do fast the day before, even Kippur cotton.
Okay, some people anyway fast because in Kippur cotton. Well, that's the Kallah's question. That is the Kallah's question. That is the Kallah's question. The Kallah is asking what to do. So she's asking it of what she should do. So before we get into a little bit of the just an overview of this, the Ramah brings in Even HaEzer Simon Samachalov that Chosson and Kallah fast. That's the minig. There is 4 reasons brought to it. It's interesting that Rebbe in his it speaks about it in the Sikha, and the Rebbe only brings 3 out of the 4 reasons. The first reason is because it's for them like a Yom Kippur. For them, it's like a Yom Kippur. It's for you. Oh, you have. Okay, fine.
Thank you.
So give it to Ellie, the parrots. You have already? Yeah. So first is because it's a day of Slicha. Within Slicha, there's several things, but the bottom line, it's like Yom Kippur. It's like their Yom Kippur, therefore they fast. Second is that maybe if they'll eat, they might eat and drink so much that they'll get drunk, and then there's a shaila of the Kiddushin, if it's a valid Kiddushin. Even though it sounds to you like this reason is a little far-fetched, but we'll soon see and we'll soon talk about in the if you look in the Sdei Chemed writes that where the Sdei Chemed was a Rav in the Crimea. So he writes that in the Crimea, Hakrim Chakim, the Krimet Chakim, not the Kremechuk, not the Jews in Kremechuk, and Krimet Chakim. The Krimet Chakim had a minig that even though they were Svardim, and they had a minig that the Chosson did fast, and he said it was very weird to him. And they had a minig that right from the morning they would celebrate with the Chosson, and they would drink. They're Russians. They're Sephardim, but they're also Russians. They're not just drinking 1 ounce of arak. They're rolling in barrels of vodka. So they would eat and drink the boy till they got good chicken. Then they would go to the bathhouse for 2 hours with the chosin. I don't know, to go to Abanya, to give him a few schmitz. No, all the day of the chasna before the chuppah. In the meantime, the chosin is starving to death. He says in the summer, in Crimea, the summer days are long days, very long days. So he was wondering, and then he realized, he said, maybe the those that established the minig were smart, because they had 2 reasons. They said maybe one is the chosin is going to get shikir, so the chosin is going to get shikir, so then it's a shaila on the kiddushin, and the second of all, it might not be nice in the middle of the chuppah. Can you imagine the chosn starts to vomit? It's a ein lechadava bizoyin yoisem izeh. So maybe, and he says that's why the minig in the Crimea was only the Chosson fast, not the Kallah, because the Kallah was never chash that she's going to get that drunk. But the problem is with the Chosson and his buddies, the bachelor's party. That was the problem. So, but the Lepoil, we'll see soon what he wrote to Lepoil, what he thinks about the minig, because he says he doesn't like that minig. He says he didn't want to be mevatel because he says there's a good reason for these guys. I'm not sure what happened at Crimea. They sounded.
You have to be drunk to go through it.
These guys, I'm not sure. Very pashta. There's a picture actually of this day Chemed, the day he left the Crimea to go to Israel. I don't know. This is 1903, 1905, something like that. And he's standing with his hands. It's a famous picture. There's maybe like 200 people in front of him, and his hands are up, and he's giving them a brocha. It's in the train station. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture of this day Chemed. You could see. I mean, most of the Jews they have beards, but you could see mamish the anoshim pshutim shebepshutim. So he said, for my talmidim, I tell them that they should fast one day before, not. Was the day of the chuppah, he says, we'll read it inside soon. The day of the chuppah, it's a yom tiv for the Chosson and Kallah, it's inappropriate to fast. This is a general by the Sfardim, we don't fast on the day of, why? Because it's not appropriate to fast on the day of the Chasna, because it's inappropriate, it's a yom tiv didhu. So he told his Talmidim that they should fast the day before. But anyway, back to the Shulchan Aruch, now you understand why there really was such a play. There was a svara to make a gzeira the chosn should fast in order there shouldn't be a shaila that he's drunk and the kiddushin, even if the kiddushin is really a kiddushin, but maybe someone's going to say later that the kiddushin chas v'shalom is not a kiddushin. So that's the second reason.
You want all 4 reasons or only 2?
2. Third reason, because the Rekeach writes that the Chassidim Rishonim had a minig that every mitzvah that was chaviva alayim, that they would fast before they did the mitzvah. Like in Chabad, the minig is Reb Daniel. In Chabad, the minig is that before you're shofar, not to eat anything. Difficult. 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, you're almost fasting all day.
You have to drink.
Push it, not to have anything in your mouth until 4 o'clock, 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. It's tough. It's tough. So
1 second, not every mitzvah is shaviva. What special mitzvah? You have to fast every day.
That's what the Rekeach says. So therefore, these are the 3 reasons. The interesting thing is that the place can bring also a 4th reason. The 4th reason is because the Gemara says leis ksuva de loyromu betigre. There's never a ksuva where there's no fight. Because the Yetzer Hara are coming in the time of the Simcha, so that's why leis ksuva de loyromu betigre. Therefore, they were fasting in order to be mevatel the tigre. There shouldn't be. So the Rebbe brings that's the reason his father-in-law was noyik to fast by his children's chasana. Some people have a minute to fast on the children's chasana because it's interesting that the Rebbe does not bring the 4th reason, and I think the reason why is the Rebbe thinks the 4th reason is not really relevant to the Chosson and Kallah. Who makes the financial agreements in the ksuba? The parents. So who is going to fight? The parents. Now, could be that's going to hurt the Chosson and Kallah. But the poil, who are the ones that usually fight around the chassan, not the Chosson and the Kallah? If they were fighting at that point, maybe they shouldn't get married. Usually, at that point, the parents are the one that could chas v'sholem that because the parents were fighting, it spills over in the marriage and it makes everything sour. I know, but in Eastern Europe, for over 1,000 years, every Chosson and Kallah was usually under the age of 20 and had not a nickel in their pocket. So who was arranging the wedding? The father and the mother. Adayom, in most families that I know, and my daughter is getting married, she has no idea how much the caterer is getting. and she has no idea how much I'm paying for the flowers. She has no clue what it takes to arrange a wedding. So she never sat in the meeting when I sat with my mechutin. She has no idea what the deals I have with my mechutin.
But none of this is going to be written in the.
I understand. Today is the standard ksubas. It's not shaykh to fight, but it doesn't matter because around the ksubah, it doesn't only mean the ksubah. Around the marriage, there could be, that's what the Gemara says. Let's ksubah the l'rom and beitigre. It doesn't only mean in the ksubah. It means around the arrangements of the wedding. Who's paying for this and who's paying for that, and how much is this, and how much are we spending, and what are we doing, and what are we not doing? So that it makes sense that that's what the Rebbe thought, that the fourth reason is really not shaykh to the Chosson and Kallah, shaykh to the parents. What's the difference? So what's the difference between the poskim talk about several differences that there is between the reasons. And this is what we'll talk about today, because if the reason is because it's Yom Kippur, so maybe you have to fast a whole day, not a half a day. If the reason is to not get drunk, or the mitzvah chaviva not to eat till afterwards, so then till the chuppah. If the chuppah is 2:00 in the afternoon, then you eat afterwards. So that's the now. In our case, if you can't fast on Rosh Chodesh and you have to fast the day before, so the day of the reason of shikrus is not relevant, because if you're not going to be drunk a day before, it's not going to help the day of the chuppah. And the reason, if it's a mitzvah chaviva not to eat until the mitzvah, is not relevant. The only reason that's left is the Yom Kippur reason. Okay, so that's what we have to talk about. Before we start, there's one more point. There is why is in Lubavitch everyone says that you have to fast the day before? Because there's a letter from the Rebbe, and that's constantly, and it's a little bit quoted, Lanius Daiti, out of context. There is a letter from the Rebbe to Kallah in the year Tovshin Chav Beis. The Rebbe writes to her that she, in the letter that Kallah wrote, she wanted that the chuppah and the chasna should be in a day which permissible to fast. Why? Because she wanted to feel spiritual on the day of her wedding. And now, the Mechutanim decided that the best day for the wedding is Rosh Chodesh. They booked everything is on Rosh Chodesh. And the Kallah was very upset. She was upset that she won't be able to fast on the day of her own chuppah. So she wrote a letter to the Rebbe. Why am I telling you the question? A question. Rebbe, my wedding is on Rosh Chodesh. The rabbi told me I'm not allowed to fast. Rebbe, I'm very upset about it. Rebbe, what should I do? So it's very important to understand the question, because then you'll understand the answer. The Rebbe answered to her that the whole Torah was given from the same shepherd, the same Eibishter that said to fast on the day of a chuppah, and the same Eibishter said not to fast on Rosh Chodesh, and that to fast the day before, and therefore it's just as good as you fasting the day of the chuppah. And therefore, there's no room to say that you're in pain, that you couldn't fast on the day of your chuppah. So I think this is a little taken out of context, this letter from the Rebbe. The Rebbe is writing to specific Kallah, who the Rebbe is writing to her that you're saying that you're upset that you can't fast on the day of chuppah. So could be what happened was her rabbi told her to fast the day before. So and the truth is, I looked as much research as I did, I couldn't find one mocker that to say that if a Chosson and Kallah can't fast on Rosh Chodesh, they should fast the day before. The only thing I found was that this Dei Chemed said that in the Crimea they have a minhag to fast, but I don't like that minhag, because I think that on the day of a chuppah, us as Sfardim, we don't fast. Why? Because it's Yom Tov Didu. So therefore, they should fast the day before. So could be that's why that Rav thought of that Dei Chemed, or could be that Rebbe himself wanted to tell this girl, you know what? It's not that bad. You'll fast the day before. I'm not sure that the Rebbe really meant that every Chosson and Kallah that are getting married in the Chodesh must fast the day before. I'm not sure. So this is what we want to explore right now.
What did Tigger mean, by the way?
Fight.
Tigger is for tough?
It's a tough fight. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Tough.
Mm-hmm.
Tough. And Korea is part of Russia? Crimea.
Ask Putin, he'll tell you if it's part of Russia or not.
He wants the whole world part of Russia. The way he's going.
Ask
West
Putin.
Ukraine. I mean,
It's a machlokes.
Listen,
Mr. Zelensky
listen,
says
Trump
it's
is
part
not,
of Ukraine.
Trump is a Shia.
It's Turkey.
So Trump said that.
It's Turkey.
You know what Trump said? Trump said that Putin still has the war going in another day, yada yada. You know, he didn't say yada yada. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Mama sense.
Okay. Let's read.
A lot of money and a lot of lives.
Exactly. Unfortunately.
Later. Yes.
Look in the Sedei Chemed, the booklet I gave you. Binyan Atayna Shenoigim Chosson and Kallah Misanim B'Yom Chuposim. Umashikosav Haramo. Bevna Ezes Samachala Frisam Mashikosav Rav Knesset Agdoil Sim Samach Beis Fagos Tur Oistes Bov. Hashem Ari Bruna. Shuvis Ksavyad. Farnitzus Shuvois V'Hibes Mit Sadik Gimel. כפי שאני רואה שישנף כמין מה שכוסב בשמוי הרב כנס הגדל מה שכוסב לתשובה מתפסס, איסל הנוכן להעתק דברי טובים שניים ככסובים כל שיין. He says the Knesset Agdola was a very important Sephardi poet. It quotes the Mari Bruna. Mari Bruna was considered from the last Rishonim. He lived in Germany. And he says, I think the Knesset Agdola a little misquoted him. So let me quote what the Knesset Agdola wrote, and let me quote the Mari Bruna personally. וזה לא שהרב כנסת הגדולה. יש נוהגים שהחוסן וקל מסרמים נשואים, עד החברוך, ויש אמר מתם, דא וסליחה דדו, שנמחול מבן נסיים, ושום דחוסן דיבן המלך, ואומר בסנהדן המלך דדם בכל יום, מרי ברונו בתשובה כתב יד, ויש מתם שם ישתקה, ולא ידע את המיושבס, בשוס הקידושים. ומכין כוסו מרי ברונו, בתשובה כתב יד. One reason is because it's a day of slicha. The other reason is maybe he'll get drunk. The Siyam, the Mari Bruna wrote the end, Shlo Ishtakru, Shlo Yomesh, Nishtakru, the Kiddushi Toes. People shouldn't be able to say it's a Kiddushi Toes. Turn the page. Yesh Kamach Shoshes, Lafum Hai Time, Amasi Bitek Tanet, Sarakav Lisanis. According to the second reason, if you're taking Kiddushim for your daughter who is Aktana, then you have to fast. That's what the Mari means, right? Gam b'tshuvas Mari Bruna Kosav Din Zad Av B'Shem Mariel.
How done?
Under 12.
Under 12. Yochi lefi atam ha'achim mebichs kedushin ena b'yom hanesuim ein mesana b'yom hanesuim elo b'yom ha'eresim. He says if there was if it was nesuim and the eresim on different days, v'oid yesh chiluk lenein lefi tam ha'alav tzarech l'sanas kol ha'yom. The yom slicha did who? According to the first reason, that it's a day of Yom Kippur, you have to fast the whole day because it's a day of Slicha. But according to the second reason, after the Kiddushin, you're allowed to eat. You see how you write a Tigra? With a big tough. It's a very tough fight. It's 7 lines in the top. Lakacht misana lakvat laporonis atkam viken afkusa ben haytaima misana kol hayoyim eloi v'doik v'shamati shekosa b'kedusha droshes mereb sholom. This is all a quote that the Knesset Agdola is quoting the Mari Bruna. Shamati shekosa b'tshuva b'chidusha droshes mereb sholom she'ochel b'yem chupas v'shoy b'chanukah. That he did eat on the day of, we don't know who this Reb Sholem was, but he was a very important person. That he ate on the day of his chuppah was a Chanukah. The Shema Moshcha Dalayla was Lasanas B'Chanukah, maybe because it was also the fast on Chanukah. Shuv Shemaliti She'ochiv Nasa Isha B'Rish Chodesh V'Tziva Lasanas Avagav D'Rish Chodesh De'iraisa. It was his brother got married in Rish Chodesh, and he told him he must fast. L'chayr Rish Chodesh is doch De'iraisa, not to fast. Okay, Atam the chuppahs of Ochiv B'Shachris. Must be that his brother got married in Rish Chodesh in the morning. The Shapir Motzal Meichel Acher HaChuppah, the Chuppos and the Marasha Be'erev. It must be that Reb Sholem, he got married at night. So if he would have fasted till after the Chuppah, it would have been a day of fasting, and I'll have fasted on Chanukah. His brother got married in Rish Chodesh, was in the morning. So he wouldn't eat till after the Chuppah. It's not considered as fasting, because if you don't eat till 10 o'clock, it's not called fasting. Hashem Yideh Loi, du Hutzach Lech, Mach Mazikna, Choyle, Bulmas, Vaken Lavtain is Gomru. Now, we must say that from the fact that Reb Sholem said to his brother to eat right after the chuppah, that this minig is not mamish a real fast. ונראה לי, דהייך דהירה יום חופה בי"ד באדר וקושקה מכאן קומפלים Rosh Chodesh שיעשה חופה בשחס, ולא יוכל עד אחר חופוסוי. So based on this, he says his final ruling is that if you're going to have a chasna on Rosh Chodesh, make the chuppah earlier in the day, and then don't eat until after the chuppah, and then you can eat. So you didn't it's not considered as if you fasted on Rosh Chodesh. And
Because you're not missing all day.
yeah. On the other hand, you won't be drunk in the time of the chuppah. Mari, 1 second. Mari Bruna Zal b'tshuv ksad yad ad kan l'shoyne aknes sagdoila.
Well, the same apply if they. I know it's not common, but if they got married on Shabbos, will this apply also?
You're allowed to fast that of Shabbos.
Why? I thought the Sarah Teves is the only fast that the.
That we're Keveya fast.
So
Yeah.
but
Mizbar medvor der Mari Bruna sover v'kibel time akama. Fishrim slichu lahem. Lefi ma shekosa v'rav knes agdel l'tam rishon tzarech l'sanas kol yem. Ken tzarech lahem ma shekosa b'tchilu dvorim. L'sanan v'achar abrocher etzlo mish mevorchim m'seif yom v'ois paisa kanisi. Ken ma shekosa dikenaf. The Knesset Agdola writes that because he sees the Mari Bruna's main reason was because it's a day of Yom Kippur. If it's a day of Yom Kippur, you have to fast the whole day, even after the chuppah. If the chuppah ends up in the summer, for example, chuppah could finish 5 o'clock and it's still 2-3 hours to the night. So he says, that you should still fast. Fast the whole day. That's what the Knesset Agdola writes. So bottom line is the Knesset Agdola. The Knesset Agdola writes that the Mari Bruna, he thinks the Mari Bruna holds you have to fast the whole day. That's not our minig. Our minig is that the Chosson and Kallah, they drink from the kosher bracha at the chuppah, and then they eat in the yichud room, and regardless if the chuppah was in the morning at this 10 or at 2 or at 3 or at 4 or at 5, that's our minig. Why? He's saying because that's what the Sdei Chemet says. Omnam medivri Mari Bruna b'tshuva shebesoif mizbar yofem. The kolikim in the Zalzanim Chuppah in el achar barochel. Vishna was slicht b'ri shlod and shtzar l'sanas kol yom. Ze lo yitochen shene kolikim minig in el achar barochel. Chen doch etam zo b'shtei yadayim. Ken tzarich lamed agam latam dalek krib l'ariv. Bochara Mari Bruna ein mesanikim achar barochel. Kim mizbar medivri something shekosav b'zel l'shoyne. Nishaltim Chosson asher lechel b'im chuppasi. V'shaftik farposhet aminig b'chol yisrael de lo yochel at sheyesim chuppasi. The minig is not to eat until the chuppah is over. B'shamati atam shalo yishtaker. V'shalo yoimish nishtaker b'shol kidushim. Kidushito azave. Oy kama chashoshes varmumis der gilul shat chuppasi. They hiru tzvim mekadesh the mitzvah leroyse terem kidushim. Kedem minim perik beis the kidushim. B'shamati shekosav b'chidush derosas Reb Sholem from the city of Ushtat. I don't know where that is. She'ochel b'yom chuppasa she'b'chanukah. B'shem moshchel alayla b'os l'sanas b'chanukah. Megillas Tainis shum shemayti she'ochel no seisha b'rish chodesh v'tzivulay l'sanas. Avagav the rish chodesh choshev d'reise v'chomer tvek d'mem perik say the Tainis. The typical lay the havelo yom shlifnei rish chodesh. Mishani rish chodesh hu d'reise. V'divrei Torah enu tzrichim chizik. Alma the choshev d'reise lo l'sanam b'rish chodesh. You're not supposed to fast on Rosh Chodesh, and he told his brother to fast. Skip the brackets. Chuppah is the marash be'erev. Oy shem ir loy oynes. Du tzalach machmas zikne choyles. We can't love tainas gomu. Sherei ochel miyad achar chuppah. V'nira loy tipoy levechel. Achar chuppah v'loy mispal l'nyone be'aneinu. The bemincha u'benyankusi amarti atam she'amelech mesane the Amrina Besanhedin, the Melech Nida Mechulyoim, the Kosim Dem the Melech, Bahol, the Yoim the Dinu Hula Gabe, Boy Mesana Kamay Beim Kippur. By high time he is Bnei Betain Besanin, Berosh Hashona, the Bishayim Adinu. There used to be a many people that fasted also on Rosh Hashona. The Leis at high time, Dim Ken Yisan not say Sekechovim. So Mari Bruna writes, if that was the reason you have to fast, you should fast until Sekechovim. Voit Shamati, the Fida Amrina Begemar, it's the last line of the first column. Because this day he's being oil on the chuppah and there's a shad of vachet will not let him have the aliyah, so he should fast. Mikabel of tshuva tzara ba'alma at the same chuppah of other ocher. So it's a tzara ba'alma. So therefore, you don't really have to fast a whole day because the main thing is the tzara ba'alma. So one second. So therefore, the Sdei Chemet comes out, and it's a longer arichas. I don't want to read it. That he says no. If you read the Mari Bruna, the minig never was to fast a whole day. The minig was to fast only until after the chuppah. But in the Shulchan Aruch and Even Ezer, who is the most important commentary? The Chelkas Mechoikik and the Beis Shmuel. And the Beis Shmuel writes that you have to fast the whole day,
Even after the chuppah?
even after the chuppah. Oh, you know what? The Beis Shmuel made a mistake. Sorry, the Beis Shmuel has a right to make once a mistake. We always pass on like the Beis Shmuel, but he says it doesn't make sense. If you look the Mocker of the Minig in the Mari Bruna, he writes befedish that it's a tzayda ba'alma. It's not really like fasting on Yom Kippur. It's not really like fasting Yom Kippur. It's a tainus ba'alma to be mitzvah yourself. It's not really like Yom Kippur. That's what he writes, and therefore he says, I want to respectfully disagree with the Beis Shmuel, and even that he's a Sfardi, by the way, it's Deichem, he's not Ashkenazi. He says even the Ashkenazim that their minig is to fast on the day of the chuppah. It's a Yom Tov didhu, it's a Yom Tov, and it's inappropriate to fast the whole day of a Yom Tov, and therefore, if the chuppah is going to be late at night, you have no choice because there's a chasham yishtaker. But if the chuppah is going to finish and there's still daytime, you should dafka break the fast. You should dafka break the fast. But the emes is, if you look according to the first reason that the Beis Shmuel, the Beis Shmuel says that it's Yom Kippur, and on Yom Kippur you're supposed to fast. So l'chayra, if you break the fast in the middle of the day, it's not considered a fast. So the Rebbe has a chiddush. There is, you will look soon in the Ha'orah. The Rebbe brings that the Rogatchover says that if a person that doesn't fast the whole day, a person fasts Taina Shoas or fasts L'Chatzois, that's not considered fasting. That's considered that you didn't eat, but it's not have a din of a Tainus. Tainus Shoas and Tainus Chatzois doesn't have a din of a Tainus. And the Rebbe brings a raya that it's not true. The Rogatchover is wrong, because the din is a person that wants to fast for a few hours. He wants to ask 3 hours in the morning, or wants to fast the Chatzois. The Rosh says is mechuyev to say by mincha before by lakayin etzor lamocher eya betainis ad shoasidis lamocher eya betainis ad chatzois. If it's not really a tainis, so why do you have to say? What's the difference? You say, you didn't say you're not eating. You're not going to eat. Elamai, it really does have a din. A tainis, there's a din of a tainis shoas. There's a din of the Shalmi says that a half a day fasting is considered fasting. So therefore, the Rebbe says that even if you're going to say that it's like a Yom Kippur, but the minig by the Ashkenazim is not to fast after the chuppah. So the Beis Shmuel says that your fasting was a waste of time. No, it's not a waste of time, because a tainus shos is also a tainus chatzois is also. It's not just that you didn't eat. It's not only you didn't eat. It has a din of a tainus. It has a din of a tainus. It has mamish a din of a tainus. Now, in Tanya actually brings in Pedek Gimel that a person that needs to fast for tshuva, so it could fast 2 half a days. So l'chayda, someone would say that maybe the Kallah, if she doesn't want to fast an erev Rosh Chodesh, she could fast 2 days a half a day. But it's not true. It's not true. So let me explain. When you're fasting, if the Alter Rebbe says that if a person needs to do tshuva and he has to fast for a certain aveda 252 times, so you could do in half days, and you could do in half days. But in this case, I think it's different. So let me explain. The Rebbe writes here to the Kallah that she should fast the day before. Again, like I said, not necessarily the Rebbe is saying that she must fast. The Rebbe is saying if you want to do the minig of fasting, you can do it. It's like Erev, just like the Erev Yom Kippur has a connection to Yom Kippur. The Erev, the day of a day, has a connection to the day. So you can fast the day before. I would say there's a kula and a chumrah when you fast the day before. If you fast the day before, so if you're fasting the day before, so you have to fast the whole day, right? There's a kula and a chumrah here. The minig of the Ashkenazim is that if you fast on the day you chuppah, that right after the chuppah you break your fast. But because that's the minig after the chuppah. Why? Because they don't want to fast the whole day, because it's Yom Tov Didhu. It's Chayom Tov. That the Sfardim don't fast altogether because it's a Yom Tov Didhu. So the Ashkenazim, at least they fast, but they stop after the chuppah. But if it's the day before the chuppah, it's not Yom Tov Didhu. And because it's a Yom Kippur, you should fast the whole day. You should fast the whole day. So that, on the one hand, you could say a chumrah. On the other hand, you could say a kula. You could say, look, the reason of getting drunk is not shaykh today. The reason of a mitzvah chaviva is not shaykh. Even the fighting will be tomorrow, not today. So, okay. Anyway, like I said, the fighting is to do with the mechutonim, not with the Chosson and Kallah. So they're not fighting. So one second. The only thing that's left is because it's a Yom Kippur, and it's a Yom Kippur for them. So therefore, they should fast. So if you would learn that a half a day fasting doesn't have a din of a fast, in the Baklal nothing, it's like not eating. So then fasting for 3 hours of Techatzos is meaningless. But if you learn like the Rebbe, that a tainus of a half a day has a din of a tainus shows has a din of a tainus. So if it's difficult for someone to fast, so they could do, say, mincha before that day, tomorrow I'm going to fast until 10 o'clock. Or tomorrow I'm going to fast until Chatzos. I spoke to the Chosson and Kallah, and I explained it to them. The Chosson right away said, I want to fast the whole day. Very good. The Kallah said,
Who wants to impress the Kallah?
Kallah right away said, I'd like to fast till Chatzos. It's very hard for me to fast the whole day. But the Chatzos will be very nice. I could fast. I'll be makabel by mincha. I said you should be makabel the day before. That tomorrow then it has a chalois of a tainis. That by mincha the day before by lakay netzor you should say mocha betainis at Chatzos, and then it has a din of a tainis. And that there's no point to say 2 half days. The day before makes sense because it's like the day before. So it's very good. And hakol al makoyim yavad b'shalom. And this is that the Rebbe said to this girl. It doesn't mean that the Rebbe meant that every Chosson and Kallah must fast a full day the day before. He was talking to a Kallah who was kvetching. She was upset. She was bitzar that she couldn't fast on the Rosh Chodesh, which is the day of her wedding. So the Rebbe said, "Don't worry, you can fast the day before." And by listening to what the Eibusha tells you, not fasting is as good as fasting. So I don't think that the Rebbe meant that you must fast a full day the day before. So I think if the Kallah wanted not to fast, if the Kallah wanted for this Kallah, so I said if the Kallah doesn't want to fast, she doesn't have to fast. But there's an Inyan of a Yom Kippur. Why should it be the day before? Because it makes sense. The schus should be before. We once learned a tshuva from the Sam Sofer about the yortzeit. If it's you count it od rishon od sheni. So one of the things that Sam Sofer said, he said, I think you should do it od rishon. Why? Because I'm not sure if we should do od rishon od sheni. But Memonoshev, if you already kept the day of the yortzeit od rishon, the schus is there. So if you're supposed to have an od sheni, okay, the schus is sitting in the bank already. It sits in the bank, in the heaven, in the bank. The Rebbeinu Shalom knows when to dispense the cash. So if you if you fast a month earlier, that tainus goes into the bank, and for your father and the mother, the schus will be dispensed. But this fast later, he said, doesn't make sense. If you'd say that the real day of the yortzeit is Ad Rishon, and you fasted Ad Sheni, but your father needed the schus on Ad Rishon. So same thing over here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the Chosson and Kallah if they want to fast and they can't fast at Rosh Chodesh, should do the day after. The day after, day after is the day after. It makes sense before. Elamai, it makes more sense. Mamish the erev of the erev makes more sense. So that's what I think.
If they're only fasting until Chasos, would they say vidu in Shachris?
I could say Anenu, do mincha right after Chatzos.
No, if they're only fasting till Chasos, so you don't have a mincha yet, but they do it in Shachris. That's my question.
No, you have a mincha right after Chatzos. You can do have a mincha right after Chatzos, and then say Anenu then.
Rabbi, for one the Amar that your Chatan has to fast.
Yeah.
This is why they have a shomer with him, that he will not eat?
No, because the shomer, you see, the minig of a shomer is for a few days before. A few days, the minig for a shomer, a few days before is to protect the Chosson and the Kallah from Chas v'Shalom Hazikim. And the minig of on the Sheva brachas is mitzam Chosson and Kallah Malka, and a Chosson and who's a melech, a Kallah Malka. They shouldn't be walking themselves. They should be walking with a bodyguard.
I don't know if could a Chosson and Kallah be a son of each other, or they need a
Third person. They need a third person. Yeah. Okay.
So this whole thing sounds very strange to me because you're pitting a minhag ba'alma against the halacha mefareshet the Talmud.
What, on a Chodesh not to fast?
Yeah.
Well, right. No, that's that. The minig is not to fast on a Chodesh. That's obvious.
No, that's a halacha, not the person who referred.
And the minig is also not to. I know it's a
minhag against the halacha. That's what the whole
but they did. We're not talking about fasting on Rosh Chodesh. We're talking about Erev Rosh Chodesh.
Oh, okay, good.
Talking about Erev Rosh Chodesh.
You can't fast on Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah, I'm talking. I mean, the question is, are they obligated based on the minig Ashkenazim? Are they obligated? So I would say it's a shvach obligation because only one of the four reasons apply over here. One of the three reasons apply over here. So it's a shvacha reason. Well, there's a beautiful thing that the Rebbe goes in. I don't have time now. If you could take it home with you, you could read. The Rebbe brings that there's a machloikis Rebbe and Chachamim on Yom Kippur if you have to do tshuva, v'tzum shel Yom HaChaper, or you have to do tshuva. So the Rebbe says that that's the machloikis in among the Ashkenazi poskim about what's the reason they fast. If you say, so if it's like a Yom Kippur for the Chosson and Kallah, right? So if you say that the Yom Kippur, that this Yom Kippur is just like the regular Yom Kippur, so with the tshuva you have to, with the fasting you have to do tshuva. That's why the Sdei Chemed writes that I think that the Sfardim also accept the reason. Well, you don't have to fast; you have to do tshuva. So you make sure not to eat extra madanim.
Do
tshuva.
Don't eat it.
But the main thing is to do tshuva, says the Sdei Chemed. So to do tshuva, so. Yeah, but if the Rebbe says, but there is the Chaman the Omar, we don't pass it that way. The Rebbe says that tshuva shel Yom HaChaper, you don't need tshuva. So that's why the other poskim held that couldn't have been that the minig was in order to do tshuva like Yom Kippur, because the wedding is so strong that it's tshuva shel Yom HaChaper. It's tshuva shel Yom HaChaper. People are asking the Chosson and Kallah to have them in mind on the chuppah for brachas, right? It's a very powerful day. It's a very, very big, strong day. So therefore, they said it couldn't be that the reason of fasting is because of tshuva. The reason is Shema Yishtakir, and there'll be a shayla on the Kiddushin. Yeah, what are you saying, Reb Daniel?
אם אנחנו רואים עצמו של יום מחפר, זוג שהם לא דתיים, יעבוד עליהם.
למה זה? כן, זה יעבוד. כן, זה יעבוד.
זוג שהם לא דתיים, נוספנו,
זה יעבוד, כן זה יעבוד. לכן, כן, לכן מצווה להגיד להם, חבר'ה, היום זה clean slate. חייבים? Right, that's what the Rebbe is saying. That's why the other Shita said shouldn't have been the reason it's for Yom Kippur, because they thought that it says a person that gets married, that was the machloikis. One opinion said that the moichel have a noisav with tshuva, and the other opinion said no, moichelin like kol have a noisav afila b'li tshuva. Why is the minik to fast? Hashem yishtaken. Understand what the Rebbe is saying? That's why the machloikis was between the Reb Sholem, Mari Bruna, those are Rishonim. One said moichel have a noisav right away, and the other one said moichel have a noisav, but with tshuva.
אבל איך לא ראינו, בכל העניין הזה לא ראינו שום רמז בתורה, לא אצל...
זה מיניק בעלמא. זה שנמחל אליו ונויסוב, זה מובא בגמורה, בירושלמי, בבבלי. המינג הזה לטענות, זה מיניק בעלמא.
שום רמז על אף אחד, לא היה פה אבינו, לא על יהודה.
לא, אין בזה רמז. Okay, the time is short.
Very quickly, Alder Rebbe said something about 252. What was that?
What?
252.
The person who has to fast 252 taniyas should do it in half days.
Where do you get the number?
Just look and pay the Gimel Atan. You'll know what?
No, I mean, having to do with the amount of berries that were done?
You have to look and pay the Gimel Atan. You'll know why.
On Thursday night we have time.
What? כן. That's why I don't want to answer the question. It's get very scary if I'll answer the question. It's very, very scary.
What's the one there?
84
Whatever.
times 3.
In Pedic
84 times 3.
Look in Pedic Gimel and you get it.
All the hints. I need to know which one we're trying to avoid.
Okay.
Op knap Daniel.
But it's not for Yom Kafir, which you and
One second. I want to say to everyone to have an amazing week. The other two shilas, I'm sorry, we'll put it in the freezer and we'll defrost it next Sunday in Minutes Hashem. There's Hashem is Baruch. We should be mishtatev and simchas with each other. We should go from one simcha to the other simcha to the simcha of the Gula Mitzvah Vashleima de Mashiach Tzedkeinu. Amen.
I have a quick question. If you go to a pizza shop and you have one slice of pizza, do you have to wash for bread, or do they bring it in with it?
First of all, you have to ask them. A lot of depends if they made it with milk or if they made it with water. If they made the dough with water, you have to make hamoitz and bechasamazim, even if you have a quarter of a slice. Okay. If it's made with apple juice or milk, today a lot of them make it with milk. Once, if you're having it on the go, no salad, no nothing, just one pizza, you can make a mazonis nalamit. It's not a problem.
this whole thing about it's so much Yom Kafir.
Yeah. It never what?
It's not
Wasn't any of this why?
I mean,
It's like a shita.
yeah, that's it. You have also.
Loves wash.
Our vegan was before we were very trained to take this farmer too long.
What's going on?
Okay. Also, it just.
What?